Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9, and of course we're playing Italy, Mussolini's War. Okay, well let's continue this. We are shifting forces to get them to the Soviet border. We are shifting for better occupation situations. Okay, advanced tank optics, very good. Now we'll be able to see better where we want to hit. Hopefully hit better. Okay, I guess that is, yeah. Bit of deficit for leadership. Shifted a bit because we were moving towards just under 110%. Now we've been expanding some of our army a bit. That is definitely part of it. But we're going to be facing a fair amount of combat coming soon. What kind of unit are we fighting here? Okay, we're gonna stop this. This weaken the unit isn't worth it. We'll wait till somebody comes up here a little bit stronger. We'll move up to headquarters. Move these guys as well, because their cores are moving down. Killing off this last bit here. We've won, but they're still units retreating, so unless we occupy it fast, we'll have a few more battles there. These guys are doing great. We're going to get that soon and move into here. Okay, no. Medium navigation radar. Stop that. And gasoline engines, okay. Okay, well, what are we now waiting on here? Okay, we are at level 4, so we want to go to level 5. Small caliber tank and energy is at least 4. That would be here. Okay, so that's what and we are researching it. That is good. Explosive anti-tank. Yeah, let's convert over to that. Make our tanks a little better. Oh, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I normally do that at the end of the episode, but not everybody watches to the end of the episode. And hey, we got lots and lots of Hearts of Iron, both 3 and 4, often playing Black Ice, but not always. So subscribe, because I want to see you around for more often here, and hope you enjoy it here. And also another thing is, I look at it, it's often about 5 to 7 minutes average viewer watch time. And I'm happy that you guys want to watch anything at all. And I'm also quite fine, actually, quite fine, if you want to jump forward, you know, whether it's one of my long monologues, rants, whatever you want to call them, that you're just not interested in, or you just, you know, look, you have time to watch 40 minutes, an hour of my channel, as well as whatever else you want to watch, because I'm competing with everybody else who's playing Hearts of Iron, but I'm also competing with the news, Your Country's Got Talent, whatever, fill in the blank there, or playing the game itself. If you only have one monitor, you know, you can only do so much at any one time, so I'm competing for your attention. So I'm happy if you want to come here and sort of skip through and see what's going on, and, you know, watch all you're going to watch in 5 minutes or something. But it would be sort of cool to know why you watch what you watch, not as in you know, what what channels are or shows, but since that tells me, you know, if average duration is 5 minutes and most things are over 40 minutes, there's got to be some people that are watching less than 1 or 2 minutes. Click on it, don't like it, go away. I get that, but a bunch of other people that are nowhere near watching all of it, and it'd just be sort of somewhere between useful and just interesting, but it would be to sort of know what okay, that's my new fascist core. Looking for, yeah, that's my main revolt risk areas. Okay, so come in here to sort of know things like this. Now, I have had I'm gonna put our and one of these cores up here. Istanbul. Had suggestions of editing these games to presumably somewhere between highlights and oh, I don't know, most interesting or something. I don't know exactly what determine, you know, editing stuff down, and that is a very good suggestion, except for one thing. And maybe if I had done it a long time ago, I would have 10,000 people, you know, subscribing and lots of people watching. And, you know, unless I do that and do it a lot, I won't know that. Is the reason I don't is time. Because I would be spending, because I'd have to learn how to use Adobe Premiere or something a little bit better to do proper, you know, even just basic editing, do that, learn to do that better. And then I would have to go in and edit the videos and then render them out. And I'd end up spending about 3 or 4 times three or four times than it takes to just play the game and put it up there, editing the videos. And yes, you could edit them. I could put in some of the tech, you know, some of the different details of things that I talk about, and put in photos and make a really good show. And it would be a really good show. And I would love that, you know. So if I'm talking about oh, I don't know, Constantinople or something, you know, I could pop a picture of the screen of Constantinople up there or something, or Istanbul, or, you know, whatever it might be. I could do that stuff and make a really good show. But it would take a huge amount of time, and it would take either a huge, the show would have to be sponsored or something. So it just, you know, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff, but even if you're just taking a 40-minute show and editing it down to the best 7 minutes of it, or something, that would still take a lot of time to do that. So that is just because it would all be on, right now in my mind, speculation that how much it, not to saying that I think it wouldn't help and it wouldn't grow the audience bigger. It just, in a practical sense, I don't think it would grow anywhere near big enough to make it worthwhile and feasible, and it would put things down in a, you know what, one show every other day or something. And so that just any significant editing is just, and just almost any editing at all is just out of sort of feasibility at the moment. It just really is. I'm just sitting here thinking about it as I'm talking, but yeah, it ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Not that I'm against the idea of it, because like I say, it could be a really good show, because I do realize that's what I am presenting here, is a TV show. This is a, you know, it's different than your traditional TV show, but this is still a TV show. Let's give this guy, he'll help with the supply. You know, just isn't going to happen. But sort of, it would be interesting to know why you would only watch a little bit of the episode, or how you watch. We give them money for crude oil. Okay. Yes. Since we can trade through the Suez and out to Japan. They still have enough bases, but I don't know that thing that really matters. And I don't know how it would change things that I do, but it would be interesting to know. My God, I just appreciate anybody who wants to watch it all. Okay, we have self-propelled artillery brigade, fire control techniques, and tremendous firepower techniques. Here, okay, 43 and 44. Too soon to do those. Self-propelled artillery brigades, we could do that, but I don't even think we built any of them. Oh no, we built a few, 2 or 3. But I don't think I'm going to do that just at the moment. Well, if we come up here, this will create more ICs, more efficiencies. But it is a curiosity to me, because I watch, and I do periodically see a few of the regulars here posting over, like on Benjamin Magnus Plays, or whatever the full title of his channel is. And he does a really good job. I watched Caesar 3 or something, some of his stuff in full episodes, but mostly just quickly looking at some of the stuff, because I just don't have time to watch it. And I'm quite surprised that people who watch his channel will take the time to watch and comment on mine. So it's quite pleasing to see that you guys do also post. Those that you post there also post here. But just, you know, how you want to follow and do. I don't know what I would do different. Obviously I'm rambling here as I'm, here we go, looking for something year date appropriate to research and useful. Mexico. No, not there. And yes, I'm quite happy and pleased, and will ramble about things like that when I am thinking about things. Mostly, at least, I don't think it's slowing up my production time. If you think you get on with it, just get playing. Yeah. Sometimes, of course, I do go into, not dialogues. Well, they may be dialogues in my head, but they're monologues to you guys, or rant. Sometimes it's ranting, yeah. Sometimes it's just me going on things. Partly I do that because I get feedback that you like it. Partly I might do it anyways, just because I think what I have to say is sort of important. And if you'll put up and listen to it, then I want to get it out there. Okay, medium support here and here. We'll leave that alone for the moment. Airborne assault tactics, we'll do that. As you can tell, I like to analyze things, and so okay, that's a pretty decent armored division. That's the 130 unit. So we will attach Bugdoglio to it to make it even a better unit, because with that as a battle commander, I often use them as part of core HQ command teams, but see, this guy already has a commando unit attached to him. And I want some good armor units to bust through things. Yep, we are losing a little bit. Come on, Japan. Kick some butt over here. Take a quick look and see how they're doing. At least here they've got supply. There they don't. There they do, so maybe they can shift in. That's obviously a scripted thing. This looks like they're losing terribly. They lost whatever was up here. And don't know why they can't get over there to get probably they don't have supply, but the AI will not do air supply. No, they don't look like they hold an air base near enough. Japan does for me to voluntarily do air supply. And, oh, they do. Okay. Well, let's help out Japan. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe I'm a little too chewed up. Okay. Let's fly down to here. We can then air supply these guys. They can attack into here maybe, and then they can get that air base, and then if these guys are still alive, I can air supply over to there. Yeah, I know I've thrown a major monkey wrench in Japan's action by taking. Didn't mean to. I guess technically I could give it to them by unlocking their resources. I have very little trust in the AI. Okay, these guys are now attacking over here. What is the opposition? Okay, there's some. They've got reinforcements coming. Come down here. Oh good, we've stomped these guys out. Okay. You come this way. You come this way. These guys should do pretty well. Come down this way. Because if nobody wants to watch my stuff, and no, I'm not feeling depressed or anything. I'm just so pleased that so many people do want to watch it. But if nobody wants to watch it, there's no point in me making this. I can just go play the game and have fun. So I sort of try to understand what and why you watch it, and then knowing that there's what I consider big people like Benjamin Magnus, or huge people, I don't know, like Quill 18 or Aruba, or other people who often, who are known within the, shall we say, Paradox gaming community, the really big guys, the giants. and they can do a very good job with this. And like definitely playing like EU, they will do a better job playing the game. And whether it's just because they're big and popular, people want to watch them because they're a known factor, or whether they just, and I'm not saying they don't, just because they do this talking and playing and connecting with you across YouTube well, they're already there. These people are already playing the game. What makes me different? Well, I think the big thing is yes, sometimes, quite often, I get political, but also it's a historical commentary, just sort of straight up history that I give in more in depth than they do. Sometimes watching some of the stuff, and they know their history pretty well, and it flows from them, and they're doing pretty well with it. And it's not that necessarily, because it varies from, I'm sure, from YouTuber to YouTuber, how much more history and what periods that I may or may not have than any one of them. But that's sort of what I've sort of figured is sort of the niche that I'm trying to break into, is not be more funny than they are, or play a better, smarter game than they are, or just be smoother voice talking, or something like that than they will. So I'm, sort of the history niche is what I'm doing, but still, the more information, the better. Okay, so now we've got that. Small caliber guns. We will stop that, and we will come over here. We will start with the light, because we got a lot of light armor. And we have an outbreak. There we go. Deal with the outbreak. And no. I'm buying so much stuff from you, Germany. I need money to buy it. Okay. It's a pretty good unit. It has a, well, regular armored division. Brigade. This guy has light armor. Should be pretty fast though, but and we're just coming up. Be one more armor division somewhere here. Thought there should, or maybe it's still. No. Oh, maybe over here. Yeah, there we go, Centauro. Guys have proper engineers, so let's add the battle commander. Don't know. Misi. So these guys will really, that'll help their fighting ability and dealing with. And for terrain, it's rough, but the initial one here just hills, so. We got some heavy Soviet, light Soviet armor. Looks like heavy Soviet armor in most of these, so I don't know how easy. But at least we're distracting large, because get Romania into that, they've got a bit of a free movement, and it looks like Germany's now building up a good enough unit. They must be getting the idea that there's going to be war coming or something. Germany is. Because they're certainly shifting a lot more useful units. These guys, yeah, they're useful for garrison, but not as battle units. You may have heard about how they've demonetized a lot of small creators. Now, fortunately for me at least, because of you guys, and literally because of you guys, I am no. Here. I am comfortably big enough in both subscriptions and watch time to not be faced with any complete demonetizations of the channel. I still constantly fighting the sort of demonetizing individual videos all the time. We go into some of that more. But which one of these was a Port Adina or something? But oh well. Still fighting that constantly. But the channel is, like I was saying, has more than 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, meaning it could be just one video for an hour that 4,000 people watch or whatever it is, and that's sort of why I'm talking about looking at some of the average viewer times, because I was looking at that. And to put that into minutes, that's because YouTube reports either a number of days watched for a time video, you know, like this video was watched for equivalent of 4.2 days, or it gives it in minutes, how many minutes. So 4,000 hours is 240,000 minutes. Well, in the last year, I had over 2 million minutes of watch time for the channel, because I produce enough content that's long enough, and of course, like I say, because of you guys who watch it, and I have well over 1,000 subscribers, and enough that if I take, and I do take dips once in a while, not just in growth, but in people leaving, and sometimes I actually can tell it's because of one of my monologues gets a little political, and I hurt some people's feelings. They find out, oh my god, this guy's actually doesn't think Trump is the devil, you know, because I don't think Trump is the devil. Don't necessarily overly like Trump, but I don't think he's the devil. You know, I think he says a lot of stupid stuff. But I like a lot of stuff that he actually does, as in, you know, not what he says or when he mouths off about things, but like a lot of stuff in government he does. I actually like a lot of that stuff. But some people, you know, I'm guessing that's it, do leave. But I'm not going to change who I am at a core level. But so it's sort of what's to some degree bringing this up. I'm comfortably being watched, and that's all good. Now I monetize my videos, and that may turn some of you off because you run into ads and you don't like them. I'll just restate my policy is obviously like a starting ad at the beginning of the video. I don't really, not in a real sense, control what the ads are like, whether there's just those little bars on the bottom or whether they jump into a commercial. I can sort of kind of turn off some vague stuff, but generally the bigger sort of it jumps into a commercial, I get paid more. But I don't get paid much. I mean, really hardly any at all. Normally it might buy me a couple of pizzas for a monthly paycheck. I mean, that's depends on where you go for the pizza. That's it. And so I'm not concerned over the money that I'm getting. What I am concerned with is, and what I really get pissed off when these videos are demonetized. Now, most of them get remonetized after a while, but most often, after most of you have watched them. But what really pisses me off about it is that once they get into that little category of little or no monetization, because I don't know, some companies may not care and will put up stuff in the sort of, you know, limited monetization categories, is that they pull them off of recommended lists. You know, those, you know, down the right side of your screen, so when you're watching a Hearts of Iron video, it suggests other Hearts of Iron videos to watch. And so when you're demonetized, people have done some, they sometimes say other things, but I believe, and other people have done some practical tests and studies. Those get pulled down. They don't get put up there. And so I don't get growth, because if this these videos aren't being suggested to somebody else, you know, hey, you just got done watching Benjamin Magnus's video, or are currently watching it, Hearts of Iron. What else might you like? If I can have one of my videos there, and with some of my cool thumbnails, I hope to get click-throughs over to check my stuff out. But if it's not there, the channel won't grow. And if it is not a monetized video, what are you going to believe? No matter what YouTube says, and it says things and I don't believe it, but do you believe that YouTube would be more likely or less likely to suggest a monetized video versus a non-monetized video? You know, so if they got a creator that, oh yeah, you know, there's no ads on this stuff, do we want to suggest that to somebody, or do we want to suggest a video that has ads on it that will get some money for it? Yeah, they're going to be suggesting videos that are monetized. That is at its core is why I monetize the videos so early on in the career, when, you know, making, I don't know, $2 a month or something like that. And again, it's not much more normally than 10 times that amount, so you know, it varies. So that's all I'm getting paid, really, and I'm not concerned, oh, it's demonetized, so for the main thing I make less. No, it's because it doesn't get suggested, so I don't have growth. Someday it will matter, because if I do get enough to be able to live off the channel in a substantial way, whether completely or partially, it would be nice, but I got to get that growth in there. And so videos that are monetized will get more growth, or will get more exposure and get more growth because of more exposure. So that is an important thing to me, and why to me monetization is rather important. Let's come out here to Ramala. Well, let's come up to here. It's already spreading them out too much. Okay. This one. You stay there. Now these guys here. We may attach one, but what I'm sort of hoping with this is, because supplies need to move through some of these provinces. Obviously here in Syria is currently our national territory, so we have, you know, fixed minimum of basically 2 or 1.9 or whatever revolt risk. As more and more of these units move forward to the border, this is going to get redder. And then leave the border areas, getting pushed in, it's going to get even redder. We want the supplies to flow. Okay, that is good. Now, you guys start heading up to the border regions. No, it's on the far side of the river to be able to attack into. Yeah, no, wherever that is. Okay, another armor division's been sort of sitting around not doing much. Communication's over with. We'll be faster transporting those there. And so that is why I'm personally concerned about monetization. And like I say, I've been quite lucky that you guys have. Okay, we want to air supply, but we want to do it in a radius that covers these guys here. These may get too chewed up, I don't know. Because I want to grow. Okay, no, that's not the one. Here probably. Yeah, the 4th quadrant. Let's. A couple of destroyers. Eventually, I think I'm going to go in and pull in a few other units. Those will help with occupation. Yeah, let's just go here. Yeah. Guess we have to rebase. They are sure afraid of me. I don't know whether it's because they know I'm a human player, or Italy's been declaring war against a few nations. They think I'm more likely to declare war against them. But currently, I have no plans of declaring war against the Soviet Union. I'll let Germany do it. And then join that war. I thought it was sometime in June. The events fire. Or decisions that fire the events. Well, there's one fascist in each of these things, but that should be able to do some reduction. Their suppression level currently is 12.5. Okay. Yes, we'll sell you supplies. Yes, we will sell you supplies. Yes. And yes. With that, we will. Okay, we're already producing more supplies than are needed. And I can tell we need more fascist units, so. 2 ICs basically for a fascist unit, and oh, where's the police? 1.5. So let's, and their suppression is 13. I'm gonna go with 2 fascist guys. Better combat units. And also, number of days, 114. Oh, they're quicker. Alright, better then. Okay, well. Do that, and we'll do these. Yeah, well, whatever. Still haven't given up having convoys over there. Probably should. There we go. Okay. We've decided destiny. Where's the turbulent? Okay. they've decided for the motherland. Well, I'm going to definitely give them a moment or two to get a bunch of these guys going in another direction before I declare war, unless Germany really pokes me hard. It's best to get them like heading over here and then declare war to then get them sort of marching back over here while we, you know, pursue them deeper. Okay, partisan suppression. And we're going to let that continue. And assault concentration advances, which is probably the one that is, yeah, too far in advance now. Well, let's push into elastic defense. Oh, no, cancel that. That is a good and worthwhile one to do, but better yet, let's get medium armament designs cranking. Not too much, but a little more than needs. Always best to get the AI moving around and confused. Yep, they've either via event or otherwise have got that border. In Romania, it looks like it's still not at war. Oh, no, maybe Romania is at war. Hungary's moving hard. That's great. It'll be interesting to watch the AI battle the AI here. Last time we did this, of course, we were playing with Britain, so we saw the Soviet side of things. This time we'll see the German. Okay, money for fuel, no. Mountain HQs. We'll stop that. But yeah, let's now come over and do plastic defense. Yes, we want that. It cost us a little bit, but sure. Not exactly sure how we will use it, but we've got a bunch of them over here as it is. HQs of various types. Okay, you guys. Okay, we're leaving the airborne right where it is, and command structure right where it is. These are like to attach to some of our more battle-worthy AIs. Or, HQs, man. Come over here, we'll pick up some more units. I'm going to leave the fascists here, but some other people. Switzerland, no. Iraq, no. Yeah, we need even more partisan management there. It affects how much resources we get. Now, how is our air transports? Are they still functional? Oh yeah, good. How's supply doing in these provinces? Well, maybe enough to get these guys going. Bulgaria. Yeah, we're going to accept this only because I want to try to get Bulgaria in the Axis. Better trade relations, I think, will help. Okay, well. para HQs. Great, 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 great. I think I'm going to come down here and shift it over to one of these. And we will take a para HQ. Not quite sure how or when I'll use it. More than just a flavor unit. But we have, let's see, everybody here attached to a higher HQ that is in radio distance. Okay, so far, yeah. These guys now. Okay, there's something to do way off over there. So detach and attach. There we go. And yeah, oh, they're way back there. Okay, not coming up anytime soon. Okay, good. So at least our front lines are all relatively well in communication. Come on, leave the border area. Yeah. Hey, see, now these guys are attacking because they have supply. Seems like it wants to supply that so much, so we will try to supply this one for a little while. Over they'll attack. Spread out. Yes. Okay, so we have these guys here. Okay, a bunch of units. You stop attacking. You're just not getting anywhere. You come down here. You attack up into there. You just come there. You guys support. These militia are very slow, so I'm putting them on trains. Maybe if did I? Okay, yeah, good. I have one going there. That's what I wanted to make sure. I have at least one going to occupy that province. You guys are coming there and almost there. You guys taking that. These are impassable, so you come around here. Okay, we won against the counterattack. I was worried about losing if we were exhausted. Okay, let's see. Corpo di Spedizione Italiana in Russia. The Italian Expeditionary Corps in Russia repeat that. CSIR was a corps-sized unit of Italian Royal Army, which fought in the Eastern Front during World War II. The CSIR was composed of 3 divisions: the 52nd Motorized Division, the 9th Motorized Division, and the 3rd Cavalry Division. Was initially subordinate to the German 11th Army, commanded by Schoenberg, or German Panzer Group 1, commanded by von Kleist. Okay, yes, we will do this. Just the only thing that I was worried about was if it's going to pull some actual units away from me, but here it just pulls manpower and a bit of supplies. So mostly free units for Germany. I do like, that's a nice look of an image there. Again, there was some talk on the Black Ice forums about Italy. Partially, I brought it up, but a few other people have been talking about it. Why Italy sucked in World War II was, is it Glitch? I don't know. G something or other, you know. Sorry, I don't pronounce it well unless I've heard it once. It doesn't easily sound out. Who is one of the main current Black Ice people. And I know he knows a lot, and I actually said that in the thing. I know you know quite a bit, but I gave my three brief reasons why the Italian army sucks so bad. One was leadership. And by that, I mean leadership at the most lowest level to the highest level, all up and down. Poor leadership, and probably should talk about that more than I have. 2, a lot of the Italian equipment sucked, and it just did. And he sort of, and I haven't really answered it, made a really nice long post, and some of it was talking about, well, this anti-aircraft artillery was pretty good, and this model of artillery unit was pretty good. Okay, and right offhand, and I don't remember the exact model names of the artillery or the anti-aircraft guns. Without looking into it, I'll grant that argument. But I do know that much, I'm not saying a majority, but maybe a majority, but much, a good, at least minority of Italian medium and heavy artillery is literally leftover World War I artillery. Okay? And in my opinion, basically, anything left over from World War I sucks for World War II. Okay? The Gewehr 98. It's a good rifle. Better than the Carcano, I believe. And it doesn't quite suck for World War II, but it's a very big, heavy gun, and that's sort of why it sucks. It's actually a very high quality gun. The Car 98 is just basically a lightened version of it. So, you know, you can look at that, and so World War I artillery, you know, medium and heavy artillery, it's going to suck. Does it even have, good recoil? Like the first gun to be mass produced that had a hydraulic type recoil system in it was the French 75, and the idea is that when you shoot the gun, it fires, and then the recoil, the carriage hardly moves. The gun recoils in the carriage and then comes back in the battery, and you can immediately load another round and fire it, and it's at the same location. Where at the start of the war, all of the German, French, and I'm pretty sure Italy enters a little late, but all of their guns, when you fire them, the whole gun and carriage comes back a ways. And then you have to move it back into position. It may only take 20 seconds because you sort of marked out the position. But if things aren't 100% right, you're not firing at the same position. You're not firing at the same location again. So you'd have to re-aim everything. So you have to move it back into position precisely and load and fire it again. You have to do that every time. Sometimes you'll see some of these World War I, movies that, short, film, actual film from it, where they'll make with wood and earth sort of a half circle kind of thing, and you'll see the gun fire, boom, and it rolls up, comes back, and then rolls back down into position. That's the kind of things they had to do to be able to fire the gun repeatedly at the same position without having to re-aim it every time you shoot, because it'll come back into a position. So, and again, I don't know artillery development in Italy, but I do know that before, basically at the start of the war, only the French 75 existed that was this way. As the war goes on, Germany and England does adopt these types of recoil systems, but they're not there at the beginning. And so to have a lot of these old recoil type systems in guns that are being used sucks. So their equipment sucks. And of course, if you watched all of every segment of this series, and I say that sort of with a smile on my face, because earlier talk, how I know you don't, because I see the average watch times. But if you've watched my long diatribe on how terrible the Modello 30 made by the Breda Modello 30, how terrible it was in design concept and also in design internally, though I understand it was well made in manufacturing, precisely well made, but just the design mechanisms inside just were complicated and god awful, and as well as the attached light magazine, and the Revelli machine gun wasn't much better. So some of the equipment that they were still making sucked. I would say the Carcano rifle to me is just an adequate rifle. Maybe almost good, maybe. For bolt action rifles, I don't know if you want to get to greatness or something, or just very good. The top three are the Mauser, the Enfield, each for slightly different reasons, and the Springfield rifle, which is a development from the Mauser, basically. Yes, trust me, I've looked at hundreds, no, 100 plus. I've opened up the actions and looked at those guns in my career. So between Mausers and Springfields, and so I know that there are differences and similarities, and I don't think I own a Springfield. I don't remember owning a Springfield. I own a few Mausers, but they're very similar guns. Those are the what I sort of classify as standard good bolt action rifles, and the Carcano isn't that. It isn't the worst rifle either, but it isn't bad. And as Das Chi says, I'm going to call him, he talks about how there's photographs in 1944 of SS units using the Beretta submachine gun in the Normandy campaign. Yeah, the Beretta submachine gun is really good. It's up there with the German submachine gun, and maybe a little better than the MP40 in some ways. It's up there with the Thompson submachine gun. You can talk about the stopping power of the 45 being better over the 9mm, but it's up there with the Thompson. It's, I would say, better than a Sten gun. A Sten gun is a crude but effective weapon. So yeah, the Beretta submachine gun is really good in some of the main models that were used during the war. Italian pistols, Berettas. They're nice but underpowered, because I don't think, I can't remember, and I know the one I own isn't. I don't think Italy, and you can see a little one right here, where it's sort of center line on him. Another one right there, and I think another one there. They are either in 32 caliber or 380 caliber. There's no 9mm, proper 9mm pistols in the Italian army. So their pistols are mostly all Beretta manufacture, and at least they're standard models, where we can talk about other acquired weapons, either from capturing stocks of invading Yugoslavia, or just simply having other manufacturers manufacture things to fill the gaps. But their main models there were Berettas, and they're really good. They're just underpowered. And yeah, I'm not a good aircraft expert, and I know some of the Italian aircraft models fighter models were okay, often maybe a generation behind the latest Mustangs or whatever. But that sort of gets into the second part of this. Is the reason it sucked is not just because their equipment quality and type sucked. Their production sucked. They really sucked at production. And they've been talking about, and I've been sort of reading some of the different things about how terrible the Italian production was during the war. And one of the people who do know some of this better than, at least seemingly so, in the the chat that's sort of going on about this, knows it better than I. Really thinks it's a management type problem, as opposed to a resource type problem. And because they didn't, he's bringing up Speer a lot, but before the war, during the war, like Hitler, Mussolini often put fascist ideology above practical considerations. And so you get this situation that they're not building production as well as they should be by any means, because they one of the guys I think said, yeah, there's many good reasons why Italy should be outproduced compared to some of the other majors, but not by 500%. If you look at a lot of their production numbers, it just sucks. In comparison to tank productions, even within the tank types that Italy was producing, they produce so fewer, and they take longer to develop new models. And my understanding is some of the manufacturing techniques they had that they could have if they were ordered to, maybe almost, you walk in and you shoot a couple of guys at the head of ensemble and say, we're going to shoot some more of you if you don't vehemently and with cheer and glad heart start producing this German tank model, because they wanted to produce an Italian designed one that they assured the government that was going to be good, and they were going to get it out fast from some of the stuff I've read, and they never did get it out. It was never that good, and they didn't get it out that fast. Get it through production into production that fast. They didn't meet their assurances. So I don't know what the problem was, whether they were just incompetence, or whether they just overpromised, knew they couldn't do it but overpromised it, or whether they promised it but sabotaged it because they weren't fascists and they didn't want to do this, or they just had other priorities, like full, well, hey, Giovanni's over on that machine. He don't work it very well, but that's his job, so we're going to leave him at that machine, and we're not going to displace him or whatever. So, there's some very real why they didn't produce more. So that's and the more I'm watching this stuff, the more it comes down to, and I just, because I don't like to type a lot, come down to my three reasons. Leadership sucks, equipment sucks, production sucks. And that's why the Italian army sucks in World War II. Okay, on that happy note, we're going to accept this. And I want to check, are we at war with the Soviet Union? Or no, okay, I didn't think so, but we're sending this unit when we're not at war. But okay, I'm happy to. I think it shows up over here somewhere, so most will be able to spot it. But we'll do that next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you've got this far, I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you've gotten this far, you better have already subscribed, or what the hell are you doing? And please post questions, comments, suggestions, corrections over any things. You can discuss any of the topics I bring up, or some other topics. If you like, see you next time for more Hearts of Iron.